Seconds there. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion, the night limited cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, and 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.
The city of Miami welcomes you to the Orange Bowl. And tonight, 80,000 plus have jammed their way into the Orange Bowl to watch their favorites. Tonight, they go against the St. Louis Cardinals, versus the Miami Dolphins. And ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Goodyear. More people ride on Goodyear tires than on any other kind. And by Ford and your Ford dealers. See all the better ideas for 73 at your Ford dealers. And by Aurora, where holiday fun is built into every game.
Yes, that's part of the enthusiastic, rabid crowd here to see their favorite team, the Miami Dolphins, and there's the record, the most impressive record in all of the National Football League. 10 games played, 10 games won. Big victories in the early going over Kansas City and Minnesota. 2 key wins over the Jets. Some say an easy schedule, but forget it, because, as you all know, Buffalo beat San Francisco. Houston beat the Jets. Anybody can beat anybody. Ask the Los Angeles Rams about it. So give the Dolphins credit for the kind of fandom they've got here tonight, the kind of record they've produced. Their opponents, the St. Louis Cardinals. A woe-begone record, in fact, but a team that is capable of troubling a better team and maybe even winning. Witness their upset victory over the Minnesota Vikings. To tell you now about the St. Louis Cardinals, Dandy Don Meredith.
Thanks a lot, Howard. But when you've won 2, lost 7, and tied 1, you can't have a lot of things go well for you. And the Cardinals certainly haven't had a lot of things go well for them this year. You know, I kind of believe these guys. I've talked to them. They say, believe it or not, we really should have won a lot more than we have this year. Gary Quazzo is the quarterback. He's been fighting for that job all year, and he's been established to go the rest of the year by Coach Bob Holloway. Quazzo is not completing a high percentage of passes. He's throwing a lot of interceptions. But when things go wrong, everything goes wrong. His running backs, Donnie Anderson and Johnny Rowland. We will see Johnny Rowland tonight. On your left, break an all-time Cardinal rushing record. He needs 1 yard. Their leading rusher for the season is Donnie Anderson. And on defense, you meet a lot of guys in football, and this one right here is really very special to me. I respect this man. I'll put it this way. There's not anybody I've ever played I respect more than Larry Wilson, and I know he must be hurting because his team ranks number 13 out of 13 teams in defense. But he's a player coach. He's established as a strong side safety tonight, and he's going to be around where that ball is. Frank, what have the Miami Dolphins been doing all year to win all those ball games? Tell me now. Tell me now, Frank.
Well, down there, a little bit of awesome. They've had their problems. Early in the year, their all-conference quarterback Bob Greasy was injured. Fortunately, Don Shula had thought about that in advance, and he had his old sidekick, Earl Morrill, to come on and take over for Bob Greasy. Earl Morrill in his 17th year out of Michigan State. This is his 5th ball club. In 1968, for Don Shula, he led the Baltimore Colts to the Super Bowl. But Earl Morrill has a lot of help with these Miami Dolphins. Offensively, they have great running. They rank number 1 in the conference rushing. On the left, the big man, of course, Larry Zonka, with over 800 yards. Mercury Morris, having his best year, over 600 yards. And in the wings, Jim Kick, who can run, pass, he can do it all. Defensively, well, the Dolphins are number 1 in every category in the conference. And one of the big reasons, the veteran at the middle linebacking position, number 85, Nick Bonacani. They call themselves the no-name gang because they really don't get a lot of publicity. They're not very sensitive about it, but they are a great defensive football team. We're looking forward to it. The Cardinals could surprise. We don't think so. And we'll be back at the Orange Bowl for the kickoff right after this message.
This is the way you start something good. This is the way you make it understood. You want something more, something great. Is it any wonder you just can't wait? Put your hand round a country club can. It's a great malt liquor you got. Country club is a lot to drink without drinking something a lot.
The solid 73 Ford Torino. Can it ride over this course of 2x4 smoothly enough to keep a tightrope walker balanced on top? High wire specialist Bill Couch is about to find out on a tightrope rig to Torino's body. He's counting on Torino's suspension to soak up the bumps and keep them safely on that wire. Bill signals, and they're off. Those wheels are taking quite a pounding, where Bill isn't, as Torino's remarkable suspension does its job. The 1973 Ford Torino, the solid midsize that gives you confidence on the road. Incredibly smooth riding. Stable, strong, and quiet. Because it's a Ford. The new 1973 Ford Torino at your Ford dealers now. Ford Torino, the solid midsize.
Back at the Orange Bowl, we are now about to hear tonight's invocation by Rabbi Irving Lehrman, Temple Emmanuel, here in Miami.
Heavenly Father, in the mood of this Thanksgiving season, we offer thanks to Thee for all Thy many bounties, for life and health, for home and family, for community and country. May the spirit of sportsmanship which has brought us together this evening dominate all human relations, teaching us mutual respect and understanding, and ushering in an era of brotherhood and peace for all Thy children everywhere. Amen.
And now our national anthem as sung by Miss Pat Hoffman. The excitement at the Orange Bowl, 80,010 fans have crammed their way in here tonight to watch their undefeated Miami Dolphins. And we'll tell you again that only a handful of teams have ever won their first 11 games of their season. No team has ever gone undefeated and gone on to win a title. The Bears in 1942, 30 years ago, were undefeated, but they lost their title game to the Redskins. The Bears in 34 were undefeated through their season, but lost to the New York Giants. That's what the Dolphins are trying to do, go all the way. And this telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Dolphins Football Club. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins Football Club and the National Football League is prohibited. And these are the St. Louis Cardinals. troubles all year long with injuries. They have a fine coach. They have some excellent talent, great speed on the outside. Mel Gray is back tonight, number 85. And setting the ball up to get things underway is Jim Bakken. And dropping deep are speedsters, number 22, Mercury Morris, and Charlie Lee, number 23, and they can fly. Mercury Morris having his best year in 4 years. Over 600 yards rushing, about 25 yards per kickoff return. And listen to the roar. They love their Dolphins. This will go to Charlie Lee. Lee up out to the 25-yard line. Hit there by newly activated Cardinal, Chuck Beatty, number 31. So Miami will take over 1st and 10. We've told you. Well, now let's look back upfield. There is a flag down against Miami. Holding and decline. The Cardinals like where things wound up. Half the distance to the goal. I did not decline it. I'll correct myself. He took the call, half the distance to the goal. Again, Earl Morrow will open at quarterback. We've mentioned Earl Morrow. His two setbacks are number 22, Mercury Morris, Larry Zonka's 39. The wide receivers, 81, Howard Pulley, and Otto Stowe, 82, replacing the injured Paul Warfield. Now, Marlon Briscoe, number 86, is in the lineup, rather than Howard Pulley. And getting the call is Mercury Morris, following the block of Zonka to the left side, up to about the 17-yard line. Stopped there by Ron Jankowski, activated tonight. He's number 78. The defensive front four of the Cardinals. Bob Rowe is 75. He's one tackle. John Richardson, a former Miami Dolphin, is the other tackle, 71. Don Brum, the veteran defensive left end, is number 86. Stallings, 67. Arneson, 57. In the middle, Terry Miller, 58, are the linebackers for the St. Louis Cardinals. Second down and 9, the ball resting at about the 13-yard line. Now coming in motion is number 81, Howard Twilley. Play fake by Morrow. The screen goes out to the flat. Attempt there to Otto Stowe. He had blockers in front, but he couldn't hold on to it. Terry Miller back there defending, number 58. That's secondary for the Cardinals, as they can expect the pass, the draw, or the screen from the Miami Dolphins. Norm Thompson is the right cornerback, 43. Roger Worley, who used to play corner, is now the weak safety, number 22. Larry Wilson, the veteran, number 8, is the tight safety. And Miller Farr, number 20, the left cornerback. Third down and 9. Ball at the 13. This is Earl Morrow, passing 55% on the year. And looking deep, and it's out to Otto Stowe. And rule complete out to the 30-yard line. Stowe covered by Norm Thompson.
Frank, let me quickly say that one of the problems that St. Louis has been belabored by all year is the absence of a pass rush. We're going to look at Otto Stowe now on this play. He was a top draft choice a year ago from Iowa State, cracked up with injuries, but a very highly regarded young football player. We'll talk more about the absence of the Cardinal pass rush as the game develops.
And just short of the 30-yard line, the first down for the Miami Dolphins. And here comes the lightning one. Mercury Morris over the 35 to the 37. Mercury Morris averaging 5.5 yards per carry, and he's finally stopped by Mark Arneson, the middle linebacker, number 57. And on the sidelines, Bob Holloway, who's had his problems in his second year as the coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. He has only 6 men tonight that are starting, that have been regular starters in their positions out of 22. That'll tell you the kind of year it's been. Many injuries for the Cardinals. Gain of 7 by Morris. It'll be second down and 3. The ball at the 32. Both wide receivers, Woolley and Stowe, out to the left. And here comes Zonka. Zonka over the 40 to the 41. First down, Miami. And Holloway's counterpart, Don Shula, what can you say? 5 times the coach of the year. He's gunning for it again. He took the Baltimore Colts to the Super Bowl. He took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. The big prize has eluded Don Shula this year here in Miami. They think that Don Shula will come up with the big win, of course, the Super Bowl. First down, Miami, moving from their own 41. Again, the wide receiver. Quilley, 81. Stowe, 82. Move out to the left. Tight end with 80, Marv Fleming, the bottom of your screen. And The attempt was to Stowe, working against number 8, Larry Wilson.
And that brings up again the story of the absence of a Cardinal pass rush. The Cardinals, and people in the NFL know this, have one of the best defensive secondary groups in the National Football League. Miller Farr, Roger Worley, Larry Wilson, Norm Thompson. But, and let's watch in slow motion as that pass rush can't penetrate. Because of the absence of the pass rush, these fine receivers have had trouble defending, and they've allowed a 63% completion average against them throughout the season. And it's not really their fault.
Just underway in the Orange Bowl, you're watching the undefeated Miami Dolphins. They have 2 first downs, 2nd down and 10 from the 41, and Morrill is in trouble, and Don Brum nails Morrill back inside of his own 30 at the 28.
If you call that a sack, Frank, which I think you must, that's only their 11th sack as a team this year.
And contrasted with Miami's 24.
I think one of the significant things tonight, Howard, will be the offensive line for Miami, because they do have a good one. Kuchenberg and Little are the guards. Jim Langer is the center. These guys open up some holes. They protect that quarterback, and you love to see it. The tackles are Prusen and Evans. And Marv Fleming, the tight end, is a good blocker for him, too.
Right now, Don is 3rd down and 22. Mandich has come in at tight end. Briscoe is in, a 1-wide receiver. Morrow with a lot of time, but finally just about nailed as he just gets the ball away. Flag went down at the 40-yard line.
Well, I want to see that one again on what you call your instant replay, because Earl's arm was hit, as you pointed out, Frank, as he threw it. It's nowhere close to target. I believe they are going to call an interference. Let's see which side it's going to be on. And it is against the Cardinals. A tough break for the Cardinals, because who was the intended receiver? Could you see? Anyway, whoever he was fell down, and they were trying to get up and get it again. Let's see what that call is.
Personal foul.
Earl had plenty of time, but he can't really find anybody open. Now let's watch it. I believe that is either Don Brum, or I believe that's Brum that comes right there at the last. And just as he throws, you can see that ball kind of squirt out there. Ball was almost intercepted by Stallings. It appears to me that it's a... Is that call a personal foul call? Personal foul. That means it was... He did something.
That's what they called it.
Yeah, he's not supposed to do something out there.
First down, Miami. They're at the 44-yard line. Coming back into the game is the regular tight end, Marv Fleming. Wide receivers are 81, Twilly. Top of your screen, 82 is Otto Stowe, the second-year man from Iowa State. And here comes Mercury Morris. Larry Little out in front, and coming up quickly to make the stop is Miller Farr, number 20. Morris getting back just about to the line of scrimmage. And you saw Larry Little, and he was voted for the past 2 years by the Players Association as the best offensive lineman in football. Watch him pull.
He's number 66, and look at 67 behind him. That's Kuchenberg. They're really very proud of their pulling guards here. It looks like to me as Stallings is pressuring in here. You saw number 20, Miller Farr, come up, so that he may have taken a little bit too deep a drop that last time.
1 second down and 10 from the Dolphins 44. Flag down at the middle of the line of scrimmage, and that generally indicates holding. We'll wait for the official call, but when you see that flag go down in the middle of the line of scrimmage, that's generally the call. And that's exactly what it is.
They've been pressuring Earl a little bit more than we expected. Of course, what Shula's going to have to watch out for is a letdown in his team. They've clinched already in their conference, and they've still got, including tonight, 4 games to go. And Frank Gifford knows something about that as we watch the penalty paced off against the Dolphins. Let's watch for the referee's signal now. Yes, holding. Now, Frank, you remember when your Giant team, of which you remember, clinched very early, and you know what the problems were.
One of the problems, as we watch head coach Don Shula, is keeping the momentum going, and that's what he said. We are going to play our regulars, and we are going to go with our best, but we would like to have other players playing. Second down now and 25, the ball at the 29-yard line of the Dolphins, following the holding penalty. No score from the Orange Bowl in Miami. The draw call to Mercury Morris. And he's tripped up, getting back to about the 34.5-yard line, where it'll be third down and about 20. What a year Mercury Morris has had as he starts to go to the sidelines. Jim Kick comes in, and instead of Mercury Morris coming out comes Larry Zonka. But Mercury Morris with 5.5 yards per pop, 11 touchdowns, trails only Emerson Boozer in that department, with 639 yards. Okay, 3rd down and 19. The screen goes out to Jim Kick. Gets a good block, breaks loose. Over the 40 to the 42, but he'll be far short of the first down. That block was by number 66, Larry Little. Bob Rowe, number 75, got over along with Dale Hackbart, number 49, to make the stop for the Cardinals.
Good defensive play that last time by Larry Stallings, who actually was right in the middle of that screen. He slowed Kick down. There's my old partner that's just been activated this week, Billy Lothridge.
Boy, he has been around, Don.
He has, the kid from Georgia Tech, the Ramblin' Wreck.
Deeper, Roger Worley, 22, 85, Mel Gray, and both of these men can fly, particularly Mel Gray, a 9-2 sprinter. 10 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Apparently the Cardinals have turned back the Dolphins in their first offensive attempt. And Worley showing a lot of courage at the 24-yard line. Roger Worley in his 4th year out of Missouri, and we'll be back at the Orange Bowl right after this message.
What's behind Panasonic's Quadricolor TV? 4 technological advances to help you get the most out of color. 1, a modular chassis with sections that snap out and in for quick and easy replacement. 2, 100% solid state. In Panasonic's Quadricolor TV, the only tube is the picture tube. Everything else is reliable transistors and integrated circuits. 3, a black matrix picture tube. Each little color dot is surrounded by black. This makes color sharper and more vivid. 4, easy controls that make it this easy to unscramble the picture and correct color, tint, brightness, and contrast. To help you remember these 4 technological advances, Panasonic named it Quadricolor, a name that stands for our latest development in color TV. Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
9 minutes and 50 seconds remain to be played in the first quarter. The St. Louis Cardinals on your right, the Miami Dolphins on the left. The Cardinals stopped the first offensive attempt of the Miami Dolphins. They now take over 1st and 10. They'll move from their own 24, and here is another much-traveled football player, number 10, or the number 15, Gary Quazzo, in his 10th year. Coming in motion. As up the middle goes number 44, Donnie Anderson. He's nailed there by Bill Stanfill.
Here's a good shot. Manny Fernandez, let's take a look at him. Number 75. Straightens up the guard. Watch him move down that line. Got some help there by Bill Stanfill, number 84 also.
Gain of about 2. The ball resting now at the 31. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Offensive wide receivers. 84 is Walker Gillette. And this is the pass. Quazzo to Gillette. He fumbles the ball. Well, Tim Foley had the ball once. Did it get away? It did, and it's picked up by Dick Anderson, number 40.
What a money player that Dick Anderson is. He's got a nose for the football. Fans will remember the interception and touchdown run in the playoff game against Baltimore last year. This year, a key interception on Namath, the pickup of a fumble by Cliff McLean in the big game against the Jets a week ago. Picking off a Mike Garrett muff, moving in for a key touchdown against San Diego. Anderson is not a no-name. He's a quality football player. Number 40.
1st and 10 for the Dolphins. They move now in the Cardinals' 29-yard line. Here comes Morris. Morris just getting back to the line of scrimmage, met there by Mark Arneson, the middle linebacker for the Cardinals. Mark Arneson, a rookie from Arizona, forced into action really by head coach Bob Holloway when Mike McGill was injured, Jamie Rivers were injured, and the rookie has shown a lot of promise. Not big, 6'2", 220. Morris, in fact, loses a yard. The ball resting now just over the 30. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Morris again. Here comes Kuchenberg, number 67, with the block. And look at him go. Out of bounds at the 25.5-yard mark goes Mercury Morris.
Don Brum did a heck of a job that time stringing it out from his defensive end position. He was playing off his block, kept his feet, forced Morris out wide. When you do that, it enables the secondary, and as Howard pointed out, they're one of the best in the business. Come up, closed out that play, didn't pick up much yardage at all.
All right, Jim Kick has come in, replacing Mercury Morris, probably for added passing strength. 3rd down and 7. The ball at the 25.5-yard mark. Stowe goes out to the left. He's met there by Norm Thompson. Out to the right goes Howard Twilley, picked up by Miller Farr. The tight end is on the left side. All the way down to the 8-yard line goes Howard Twilley. And this man sometimes is amazing.
Really pretty, Frank. It looks like he has one-on-one. That with Farr, you see Kick coming out of the backfield to pull the linebacker Stallings out. There's a big hole in there. You may have noticed that before that game, Zonka went up and set outside the tight end, called a trip set. That brought Larry Wilson and Roger Worley over, putting one-on-one with Farr.
3rd and goal. The ball at the 8-yard mark. Kick stays in with Zonka, and Kick with a fine block springs Zonka around to the 5 and down to the 4. All conference last year, Bob Greasy. And he's getting around good, Howard.
Yes, he is getting around very good indeed, and I think he's going to be back very, very shortly. But Morrill has done such a marvelous job. Let's take a look at this last play. The block by Kick, number 21, to the right of your screen. There you see it. And you see Zonka trying to turn that corner, but you see a superb job done by number 22, Roger Whaley.
It's 2nd down and goal. The ball's at the 5. Here comes Zonka straight ahead, following Jim Langer, Larry Little, and Bob Kuchenberg, the middle of the offensive line for the Dolphins. Bob Holloway, who has been credited with having built the Minnesota Vikings defense, where he spent 4 years with head coach Bud Grant.
Well liked by his team members.
Don Merle's got a tough ball right here. It's 3rd down. Well, it's a long 2.
I still give it to Zonka.
That isn't all that tough, is it? When
It
you
wasn't
have
that
a 237-pound fullback. Well, let's see. The 2 tight ends are in. Mandich has come in, number 88. Marv Fleming, number 80. This is the veteran Earl Morrill. He gives it to Kick. And look at Kick.
You give it to Kick right behind Zonka, is what I meant to say. Yeah, because that Zonka laid a good block over
Give
there.
that young man, John, so much credit. It's not been a happy year for him. He's been supplanted by Mercury Morris because Shula wanted the wide running threat.
Look at this. Little leads out. Watch Zonka's block, number 39. And Kick just lowers his head. He gets number 43, Norm Thompson, and takes him on in with him.
This is a happy team. That's the point I wanted to make. Despite the fact that Kick, as a Cardinal, seems to be injured there on the field, despite the fact that Kick has been supplanted by Morris, there's a togetherness on this club that's terrific. Number 58, Terry Miller, appears to be the injured Cardinal linebacker, swung into action because of the injury last week to Jeff Staggs that sidelined him for the rest of the season. As Frank told you earlier, Holloway has been beleaguered by terrible fortune all year long, the form of injuries, and out goes Terry Miller.
Larry Wilson was telling me today they've had 58 players this year. Is that right?
59.
All right, Terry Miller has moved off to the sidelines. Gary Yepremian has come on to attempt the conversion. Earl Morrill will do the holding. 5:57 remaining in the first quarter. The Dolphins out in front first. A little sidewinder. Set an NFL record a few years ago at Detroit. And he drills it. The Miami Dolphins lead the St. Louis Cardinals 7-0 on a beautiful night for football from the Orange Bowl in Miami, where we'll be back right after this message.
A Goodyear test track in Luxembourg, Europe. Jackie Stewart, world's champion racing driver, is about to test a new Goodyear radial tire.
The custom wide tread radial, made in America for American cars. Goodyear has made radial tires for Europeans for 13 years. Now this knowledge has been put to work in building a new radial tire for American driving. The sidewalls flex. The tread stays firm for handling and long mileage. In addition to exceptional long wear, the Goodyear radial gives you a confident feeling of control on slippery roads, on curves, making sudden stops. The custom wide tread is a radial tire with a polyester cord body and 4 belts to hold the tread firm on the road. Only Goodyear has the custom wide tread radial, made in America for American cars. See your Goodyear man.
This happened just a few moments ago, Don, and watch him run.
Points out the individual effort. Frank, watch Kick as he cuts off left tackle, lowers that shoulder, got good leg drive. Kick's a good football player, as he's proved the last few years. That's Norm Thompson, number 43, that he meets about midsection there, and takes Norm back with him.
Here's the littlest man in the Dolphins squad, sidewinder Gary Yepremian. Kicking deep, Bobby Moore, the All-American from Oregon, has it at the goal line, out to the 15. You don't want to let him loose. He can fly, and he just about popped. Out to the 23 goes Bobby Moore. It'll be 1st and 10 for the St. Louis Cardinals.
He's one of the leanest, most supple-looking athletes I've ever seen, as well as one of the best dressed. He could run a contest with Walt Frazier of the New York Knicks. But he's going to be a great one. He's the spitting image of Lenny Moore, whom you so well remember, Frank.
He does have that same kind of grace. Out to the right he goes. That's number 28, Bobby Moore. The setbacks, Johnny Rowland, 23, Donnie Anderson, 44. Tight end is Jackie Smith. Here comes Mel Gray. And this is Donnie Anderson. And Anderson over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Stopped there by Dick Anderson.
Donnie is remembered as the biggest bonus baby of all time during the pro football war, a glamour boy. But he's really a very introspective and thoughtful young man who doesn't give off the glamour image in personal conversation. He's worried about himself, about a possible loss of speed. Yet twice in the last 4 games, he's run for more than 100 yards.
And he picks up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Firing over the middle to the big tight end, Jackie Smith. And look at him go.
He can run.
Jackie Smith, the 10-year veteran, and as Don Meredith said, you don't want to let this man get in your secondary because he can fly.
Not only that, Sandy, he came back from a knee injury, remember, in the San Diego game a year ago, which was a Monday night game, and a lot of people were worried about whether or not he'd get it all back. I think he demonstrated right there he has.
Do a quick toss right over the middle. Saw Quazzo hit it. He was wide open. He came inside the linebacker. He's trying to pick up that block. Looks like Mel Gray out front in number 85. He can run. He was a sprinter in college. Really a nice guy, too. Like old Jackie.
At Little Northwest Louisiana, 32-yard gain, 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. They move from the Miami's 42-yard line. Johnny Rowland takes the pounding as he goes off right tackle.
If he got 2 yards, Frank, he broke the record right there. He needed 1 to tie. You got some information on it?
Well, he broke Charlie Trippey's record, and that has stood for a long time. And Trippey's record was 3,510 yards, so Rowland has made Cardinal history. And you think what he might have made had he never suffered that knee injury, because he was the finest-looking rookie back that I think I've ever seen come into football a few years ago.
He really was something. Still is. Look at him. He looks like a football player.
He gains 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. The ball at the 38. 3:23 remaining in the first quarter. Here he comes again. Johnny Rowland.
He looks like a football player. He is a football player. That must be a football player.
Funny thing, in the light of the way things are currently going, we're advised that we'd see a lot tonight of Leo Hayden, who had been the Vikes' #1 draft choice a year ago, is now the property of the Cardinals because Hayden's got speed, and they haven't been satisfied, quite frankly, with the speed of Rowland and Anderson as a duo. But the way these two guys are performing now, we might not see Hayden for a while.
Johnny Rowland takes the ball all the way down to the 22-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. They trail 7-0. Quazzo on the play fake. Going for Mel Gray, and he almost picked off.
He had Bobby Moore wide open on a turn-in over there. Of course, you can't see them all, I suppose.
And he had Johnny Anderson wide open on a sideline hitch.
But he threw to Gray.
And you saw him shake his head.
Yeah, he probably knows that.
Quite an interesting young man, Don. He's, well, I don't think it'll hurt your feelings. Phi Beta Kappa out of Virginia 10 years ago.
Well, was he magna cum laude is all I want to know. Huh?
What he is a dentist. That's what he is.
He's a dentist playing quarterback.
And he is 2 for 3 for 35 yards. Second down and 10, the ball at the 22. Rolling, and he's met there by Bob Hines, number 72. Good defensive front four for these Dolphins. 72 Hines, Manny Fernandez, highly underrated according to middle linebacker Nick Bonicatti. 75 Fernandez. Vern Den Herder, the defensive left end, Nick Bonicatti says made the difference in this defensive team from last year. He's number 83. Number 84 is Bill Stanford,
who's having his best year according to Nick.
and it's third down now and 9. Out to the right goes the rookie All-American from Oregon, Bobby Moore, number 28. In the slot is the speedster, 85, Mel Gray. This is Gray coming towards you in motion. He's run the 109 too. Wow. Jake Scott almost picked it off. The pass intended for the big tight end, Jackie Smith.
Jake Scott, they call the wild man. He does unpredictable things on and off the field. They say he's often not where he's supposed to be, but yet he's where the ball is. I can't reconcile the two, but he's a player. Let's watch Bobby Moore out of the University of Oregon. All alone. Now watch his frustration. Oh!
This is Bakken. Oh, from the 27, no good.
Ah, goal, Jimmy. What a year for the place kickers.
So the Miami Dolphins maintain their lead, 7-0. And on the sidelines, Gary Quazzo talking with Eddie Hughes, the assistant coach. We'll be back after this.
The horses are now entering the track. Wait a minute. Something seems to be wrong.
Where are the jockeys? The name of the game is Aurora Derby. Each time you get your ball in the hole, your horse moves.
Cars charging ahead. Pinocchio moving along the rail. Lockjaw closing in. It's Credicard and Pinocchio neck and neck. Credicard and Pinocchio cheek to cheek. Looks like a photo finish.
60,000 fans out there, and you guys are in here playing a game. What do I tell them? Tell them Pinocchio won by a nose. Aurora Derby. It's a racetrack in your own home.
Speed up. Slow down. You're in control all the way. The name of the car, AFX Aurora Factory Experimentals. You control them on the Monza Spider race set with this electric speed control. Give it the juice on the straightaway. Slow down on the curves. Keep racing them lap after lap. The Monza Spider race set comes with 2 AFX cars, controllers, tracks, and safety wall power pack from Aurora.
1 minute and 38 seconds remain in the first quarter from the Orange Bowl in Miami. Jim Bakken has just missed a 27-yard field goal attempt for the Cardinals. They trail this team, the undefeated Miami Dolphins, 7-0. Dolphins now moving from their own 20. Zonka, Morris the setbacks. This is Zonka following Kuchenberg, number 67, and what a block.
Boy,
Ooh, that hurt.
I tell you what, I always wondered how that guy, what does a guy like Norm Thompson think about when he's coming hurt? He knows that's going to hurt. Here's Kuchenberg running right at him, and man, he buried him.
I want to tell you, we're seeing a lot of great guards in the league these days, especially in these 2 consecutive weeks. Little and Kuchenberg here with Miami, Johnny Wilbur, number 60 and 73, Paul Labick with Washington, and they're reviving the memories of 63 and 64 with Green Bay, Giffer, Thurston, and Kramer.
2 fine wins and good tackles. Doug Cruzan, 77, Norm Evans, 73, the leading rushing team in the American Conference. Zonka got 8, second down and 2 from the 27. And pounding very close to the first down is Mercury Morris. And he gets the first down.
Remember the way Mercury Morris sounded off after the Super Bowl shellacking? Complained about not being played. Shula met with him privately, chewed him out, said, talk to me about it, not the press. But Shula took note because he started playing his point. That's right.
Over 639 yards coming into the game. Here he goes. He's spun up at the line of scrimmage. Number 60, Jim Hargrove, made the tackle. He came in to replace the injured Terry Miller, who was injured when Jim Kick went in to score for Miami.
Matter of fact, Gifford, when Mercury Morris was started this year over Kick, a Miami sports scribe went up to Shula and said, why handle it this way as the quarter ends? We'll finish this story in just a moment. That is the end of the first quarter with the St. Louis Cardinals trailing the unbeaten Miami Dolphins by a score of 7-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, Strongo, the strongman, grapples with Wemblon, the super tie. He crushes it. He knocks it. He even drowns it. But Wemblon emerges fresh as new. Wemblon, the super tie.
Wemblon looks super, feels super, like finest silk. Magnificent colors and patterns to coordinate with the newest shirts. There are many wash and wear ties, but only one genuine Wemblon. Look for the strongman. Insist on Wemblon, the super tie from Wembley. Don't buy an unsuper tie. Get Wemblon. Then
Crush it. Knot it. Even wash it. The genuine Wemblon. Fresh as new from the Wembley family of fine neckwear.
Larry Little runs a summer camp in Miami called the Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast was a dream of ours. A lot of fellas pitched in, too. We just wanted a summer camp for kids and families that couldn't afford it. Most people don't want a handout, just a helping hand. You can help by writing volunteer, Washington, D.C., 20013. What we need, money can't buy. We need you, the National Center for Voluntary Action.
The preceding announcement by Big Larry Little was brought to you as a public service on behalf of the National Football League. And Larry Little's Dolphins have a second down and 8. The ball up to 32, their own 32. We begin the second quarter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Number 82, Otto Stowe, in his second year out of Iowa State, and he has replaced Paul Warfield, and that's not an easy job.
That's exactly the point, though. They're deep and wide receivers, much in the manner of the Dallas Cowboys. Watch Stowe here.
Norm Thompson, number 43, he was open. So was Marv Fleming, incidentally, from his tight end position. Pass was a little bit low in there, but Otto jumped down there and got it.
First down for the Miami Dolphins. They move now from the 48-yard line, their own 48. And here comes Mercury Morris. He's over the 50 to the 47-yard line, hit there by number 8, Larry Wilson.
Just to finish that story, the Miami sports scribe went to Shula and said, why start Morris? Why not let Kick down gently? You know, let him start the game, take him out after a few plays, but do it as a token. Shula looked at the writer and said, my friend, I am not a token coach.
No, he is the winningest coach. Won his 100th game 2 weeks ago. But it's a good story, Howard. Second down and 5. From the 47. And the quick pitch out to the speedster. And Morris gets just about back. Well, maybe he gains a yard.
Norm Thompson made a good move again, Frank, from his defensive cornerback. Came up. I'm serious, man. You got to think twice when you come up to meet a guy that's running full speed. He's got a couple of friends out there in front of him that outweigh you about 30 or 40 pounds. He says, I'm going to go up here and get it over with.
All right, the 3 wide receiver offense comes in. Howard Quilley replaces the tight end, Marv Fleming. 81, top of your screen. Stowe will be in the slot. Out to the left goes Briscoe, number 86. Third down and 4. The ball at the 46-yard line of the Cardinals. The draw play to Morris. And Morris is nailed by former Dolphin John Richardson, number 71. And out trots Caro Yepremian, and he is going to have to kick a long one. He beat the Miami Dolphins early in the year, at least the margin of his 54-yard field goal, beat the Minnesota Vikings. And he will be kicking, I think, well, just mark it at the 54. Now, he's made one this year already. "54 yards away from 3 points for Miami. This will be Roger Worley. yards short of letting it go through the end zone. Stopped there by Larry Little. So the score remains the Dolphins 7, the Cardinals nothing, and we'll be back right after this.
Gillette makes a better double edge now than the one your father used. The smoothest edge we can put on a blade for the smoothest shave we can put on your face. The Platinum Plus blade. And someday, Gillette will make even a better blade for your son. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We made the first blade, and we're still the first blade. Gillette. Platinum Plus.
Because Papermate knows how you write, they put a pump in the PowerPoint pen. So even at odd angles, on the worst surfaces, the Papermate pumps ink to the point, automatically as you write. So no matter where or what you have to write on, the Papermate PowerPoint keeps on writing smoothly, even when you wish it wouldn't. The Papermate PowerPoint, the pen that pumps the ink. Put a Papermate gift set in someone's stocking this Christmas.
12 minutes and 16 seconds remain in the half. The Miami Dolphins out in front of the St. Louis Cardinals, 7-0. Garo Yepremian has just missed on a 54-yard field goal attempt. This is the Cardinals quarterback, Jerry Quazzo. In motion goes Mel Gray. The toss goes out to Donnie Anderson. He can pass. He did. And watch out. And Mel Gray, the speedster, crosses the 50, out of bounds at the 49, driven out of bounds by Jake Scott.
What a pest that little fella can be. He went to Missouri, as most of you know. Dan Devine, who was then coaching at the University of Missouri, found him at a Santa Rosa high school where he was a sprint star. Let's look at it again.
That was well thrown, Howard. That one was right in there. Donnie threw that one on a run. Left-handed. What about, excuse me? Where did he find him?
Little Santa Rosa High School. Knew he played football. Saw him also in a track meet. Knew he wanted him at Missouri.
He gains 34 to Miami's 49-yard line. And this is Donnie Anderson, the running back. Picking up one, maybe two, met by Nick Bonacani, number 85.
There's Dandy's favorite, little Larry Wilson.
I told him one time, I said, Larry, only D.N. could love a face like yours. I don't think he loved it, but he's got a lovely wife, D.N., and 3 kids. Lives on a little farm outside of St. Louis. He's quite a fella. Really do respect him.
All right, the Cardinals pick up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The ball at the 46. Quazzo going out to Mel Gray. And he's met there by number 25, Tim Foley, at the 41-yard line, a gain of 4.
That's one of the guys you don't hear about. Cornerback Tim Foley, the other cornerback, 45, Curtis Johnson. As Frank perhaps implied earlier, we had a long session yesterday with number 85, Nick Bonacani. Went over every single man on the Miami roster with him, offense and defense, and he talked about the extraordinary improvement in the cornerbacks, the way they've learned to come up and hit hard, so that nobody can turn the corner against them, the way they've learned to cover people.
3rd and 3 from the 42. Anderson, Dick Anderson, and he can turn on the excitement. I'll tell you, he's too much. Finally stopped by Walker Gillette. That pass thrown behind, Jim.
He is always where the football is, Dandy.
When Dick Anderson intercepted the pass when they had like 13 blocks on it, and he ran it for a good 5 or 6 minutes, it seemed like one time.
It's Baltimore in the playoffs.
That's right. That was the biggie.
That ball looked to be tipped. I really don't know for sure. Possibly was tipped in there by number 83, Dan Herter. But look at him go. He's looking for some open room. He was finally caught up with
Walker Gillette.
Right, 84. Attaboy, Frank. Thanks.
You're welcome. And now from the 48-yard line, here comes the big man, Zonka. Just back to the line of scrimmage. Mark Arneson is there, number 57, along with 75, Bob Rowe.
You mentioned Arneson on a tackle earlier. He is a rookie. We saw him in the All-Star game out of Arizona. Don Shinnick, his coach, who coaches the linebackers for the Cardinals, says that he has the capacity to be up there with the likes of Curtis and Butkus and Lanier. And we'll develop perhaps more on that later if he figures in the contest. I'll tell you why he makes that judgment.
All right, 2nd down now and 9. The ball just short of the 50-yard mark. Earl Morrill tossing out to Mercury Morris. Zonka gets the block. Morris down to the 45. Stopped there by Norm Thompson, number 43, coming up from the right corner.
And Donison, 57, was in there again.
It'll be third down and 3. And NCAA college football continues this Saturday with an exciting doubleheader. At 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, it's the traditional Army-Navy Classic. Then at 4 Eastern Time, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame take on number 1 ranked USC. And they hope to continue their unbeaten season. Do like to talk about them. Don't miss this exciting college football doubleheader this Saturday on ABC. And right now, the Dolphins from the 45-yard line of the Cardinals on 3rd and 3. Morrow trying to go out to Morris, incomplete. And I would suppose that little Garrow, your Permian, will have another shot from about 2 yards closer, probably about the 49-yard line of Miami, or a 51-yard field goal attempt.
I suppose he will. The point Shinnick was making, Frank, I'd like your judgment on this, having played with so great a one as Huff, and yours, Don, having played with Jordan. Well, we'll have to watch the kick first.
I can hardly wait to give you my opinion.
Left-footed. In 1966, he one time kicked 6 of them in one game. The 52 in his block. And Larry Wilson.
He's picked him up and gone before. Wait a minute.
Garrow ended up with the football. It, of course, does not matter. But Larry Wilson raced in, and I believe number 31, who was just activated today, Chuck Beatty.
That's right.
Made the block
from the Steelers, Gibb.
All right, now the Cardinals have their break.
Let's see. It appeared to be, well, it's not too low either. That was just a kid. Who is that? Who is that guy? Number 75, Bob Rowe. I think that's the 4th field goal he's blocked this year.
So a big break for the Cardinals. They trail 7-0. We'll be back after this.
Any good news, Julius?
Mark 4.
I see but one.
Verily, such stuff as dreams are made of. Mark 4.
Ah, my cigar. What a noble thing it is. Tell me, hast thou struck it rich?
20 cents.
Noble.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me thy box. Take this 4-pack for thy chosen pocket.
There are still some good things. Mark 4.
A noble cigar.
Right now is the time for winter tires. And at your Goodyear service store or participating dealer, you can get Goodyear Sure Grip winter tires with 192 deep, rugged pleats to give a big grip at this low price. Goodyear, America's best-selling winter tires.
Bob Rowe just blocked a Miami field goal attempt with 51 yards. The Cardinals with their first major turnover. 1st and 10, they move at Miami's 35-yard mark. A play fake by Gary Quazzo. And oh, is he nailed by Van Herter. Van Herter. Second-year man out of Central College in Iowa, and he is something else.
He has become some story. Incidentally, Dandy, you're absolutely right when you talked about Bob Rowe. Seems to be having his best year as a Cardinal, and this is 6th year. He blocked 3 field goals in one game against the Baltimore Colts, the opening game of the year, when the Cardinals pulled a surprise by defeating the Colts, who were then considered still to be one of the strongest teams in the league.
I believe the Lions say he blocked 2 of them with his hands and 1 of them with his head.
With the helmet.
And on 2nd down and 17, we have the prevent defense for the Dolphins, and they come with the blitz with a 3-man front 4. Oh, in and out of the hands of Johnny Rowland.
A lot of open territory, too, had he been able to corral it.
He ordinarily is a very good receiver. I believe he could have had that one. That was a little high, but it wasn't that high.
All right, it'll be 3rd down now and 17. 8 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the half. Again, Miami out in front, 7-0. Jim Kick went in from 2 yards out. That in the first quarter. The Dolphins have missed 2 field goal attempts, one of 54 and one of 51. On 3rd and 17, the Dolphins with their 3-man rush, 3 big men. They have brought Matheson, 53, in the extra linebacker, Mel Gray. Motions left. Out to Donnie Anderson. He can't hold on to it.
That's another one looked like he was in there. Tell you, for a dentist, he's throwing pretty well tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, they may go for the field goal now, and this would have to be a very long one by Jim Bakken, who was once perhaps the most consistent of all place kickers in the league. Oddly, as we look at Anderson isolated, oddly, Bakken this year has been having the troubles that have afflicted other place kickers. Look at him now. Ready for the reception, the ball right in the gut now. But Bakken this year, he's already missed a 27-yarder tonight, has been less effective between the 20 and 30, Frank, than between the 40 and 50, where he's got 4 out of 6.
And so Bakken is going to have time to think about it. St. Louis taking a timeout. And we'll be back in the Orange Bowl after this.